Hey, it is Friday, May 1st, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon. So this is Success Never Sleeps. So we as a collective, particularly martial arts school owners, are just trying to figure out this thing called life. We want to create businesses that work for us, that are profitable, that do well, allow us to fulfill our version of success, whether that's buying a home, taking care of your family, buying yourself a nice car, a watch, putting your kids through college, taking care of your team, giving back to the community, whatever your version of success may be. It is our goal to help you discover that through different topics, different conversations, and hopefully you find value in what we do. Let's begin by thanking our sponsors, please. We have Tusaw. I consider one of the best in martial arts suppliers, uniforms, belts, boards. People are always looking for boards. They do supply the equipment and uniforms for the Taekwondo Olympians, and I think that's a big feather in their cap. Market Muscles, simply the best in websites. Stephen Reinstein and the gang are always innovating. Anytime you're dealing with tech, if they're not constantly updating what they do, then you're not with a company that's worth its weight in salt. Kids Love Life Skills, the best in character development. People come for the kicks and punches, but they stay for the life skills that you offer. And I believe that's something that is way overlooked in our industry because we're more technicians, we're more physical, we're more about practical application than we are of the higher learning. Do I believe you can find the balance in the two? Yes. And I think often great martial arts schools shy away from the character development because they see the other end of the spectrum where people can't kick at all, can't defend themselves at all, and all they do is profess life skills. There is a healthy balance in there, and it is my purpose and goal to help school owners achieve that. So we position our businesses as an investment in their child's development, not an extracurricular activity. You with me? So I'm very passionate about that. LC Accounting, she is my sister, Letitia, great bookkeeper, does good work. I highly recommend her to everybody. And last but not least, Kin Creative. Kin Creative is a digital media company out of Canada that I'm a client with, as well as I work with the team. So I understand this company from both ends, and we all need digital media. If you didn't learn that during the pandemic, Facebook ads, Instagram, Google, all of that, it is really part of today's marketing plan. And if you don't use digital media, I would ask you to rethink that if your goal truly is to grow your business. Cool. All right. So we got coming up, It's Time Live United. I'm grateful to say we have 2 people already booked out of the 20 spots, 18 spots left. There's a $199 discount right now. It's unlike anything in the martial arts industry. It's for martial artists, by martial artists. We offer a 4-day experience for 20 school owners. It's being booked now. Go to the website, take a look at it. Marco will pop the URL in there, and I highly recommend that. We just got off our It's Time group mentoring call. You need a mentor, not a consultant, somebody that's going to get you, that's going to work with you, meet you where you're at, and truly help you, grow your business. Consultants don't do that. It's a one and done. They come in and fix something, and then they're on to the next project. We're with you 24/7, 365 in your back pocket, helping you, grow a truly successful business. So schedule a discovery with us. Call with us. We'll be happy to help you. And as you come aboard, say hello. Tell me where you're tuning in from. We got Bob Poole, Goals Martial Arts, my brother Bob. How you doing, Bob, sir? Always a gift when you choose to be with us. So today we're talking about what's your brand identity, right? What do you stand for? As the saying goes, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything, right? People need to understand why I want to come to you versus Joe Karate down the street. People have heard me say that many times. And when I ask that question, it's an umbrella of a lot of different things you should be doing in your business. So let's begin with that today. Why do I want to come to you versus Joe Karate down the street? And in answering that question, you can't use words like we teach confidence, we're a family martial arts school, because if you and Joe Karate down the street are singing the same song, right? We teach confidence, we teach bully awareness, we teach self-defense, we teach focus, right? And the guy down the street is saying the same thing. I, as a consumer, cannot differentiate you from them, right? I cannot. So my buying decision is based upon solely upon 2 things. Who's closer to me and who's cheaper? I know Bad place to make a choice from, right? Could you imagine dating somebody and telling them the reason I date you is because you're a cheap date and you're conveniently located near me? Not good, right? Not good. But it is really up to me to best position my business so people can differentiate my school from somebody else. And as we say in marketing, what is your unique selling point? Right? I don't like the word selling, so I've changed it to what is your unique service point? Write it down, your USP. What makes you different? Now, there are marketers in the world that would tell you nobody cares. In the words of Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? All they care about is what you can do for them. So then we do focus on the talking points. We teach children to be more confident. We teach them to pay attention. We teach them to do things right away when the parent asks them to, right? That's the soapbox we stand on. But the challenge with that, it's thin. It doesn't have sustainability. It doesn't have substance. I, as a consumer, might buy into that sales tactic, but it's not going to keep me there. And that's where your brand identity moves you from being somebody people buy into to somebody people believe in. Are you with me? And that's the big difference. And from a profit standpoint, when people believe in what you do, they will spend a lot of money with you. And that's a fact. That's just data. It's not something I'm making up metaphorically. It is data. So how do we get people to believe in us? Well, it is the identity of your brand. Apple, one of my great case studies. I love studying Apple. You know, I used to wonder, why would somebody stand in a line all night long, right, to get this new iPhone, the latest version? Because it was cool. It was hip. To have this phone first before everybody is really, really cool. Now, there is data that out there that says the Android's a better phone or this is a better phone, but really it's what Apple has done in their brand identity that has shifted people's mindset to genuinely believe this phone, which is equal and subpar in many ways to other phones, is worth standing in line all night for to have first. You with me? We see it all the time in trend marketing and influencer marketing, right? I once saw that. I don't know. I think it was Popeye's chicken, that chicken sandwich. They were sold out everywhere because somebody created a buzz. They created a hype behind it. Now, nobody cares. So that's why I'm not big on hype marketing, but I'm big on brand marketing, where you understand what your brand is, what is your brand identity, and then through every thought, word, and action, you communicate that to your demographic, to your ideal avatar. So if and when they are ready to buy or explore martial arts, you're the first one that comes up in their mind. Everybody with me on that? Bob, I am working on positioning goals as the go-to life skills in my area. Yeah, you should, sir. You should, sir. And that's why we in our school don't use words like membership. We don't call our instructors coaches, things of that nature. We really want to move into higher learning. So we use the word teacher all the time. Why? It is synonymous with their kindergarten teacher. It's synonymous with their math teacher in middle school. It's synonymous with their AP English teacher in high school. My kids have been in the school system, one's a junior in high school, one's an eighth grader. They have never used the word instructor for one of their teachers. They'll say coach for basketball or soccer, but I don't want to be in that league. You with me? So we don't use the word coach and we don't use the word membership. Planet Fitness is a $10 membership. No. So if I can encourage anything culturally in your language, get rid of the word coach and get rid of the word membership. If you were to ask me how much for martial arts classes, our team replies, your tuition investment for your child's personal development and future is $289 a month for 2 classes a week. There you go, right? So again, once you understand your brand identity, write it down as I've shared passionately, you live, teach, and preach That is it. All day, every day. And we're always looking for those opportunities to do that. Now, our brand identity is live your best life. Our purpose statement, we are one, right? Because we're one martial arts. We're one people. We're equal. So that first part is sets the stage. It's the opening of the movie. It's a story. We are one. Man, can't you get behind that? We're a team. We're one, right? A community dedicated to serving you in every moment to live your best life. The philosophy in every moment, we're always in the moment. And what are we trying to fulfill? To live your best life. That's what we do all day, every day. We took 2 years to come up with the word community. We said, well, we're a team, we're a family, we're this. And we are a family. My family works with me. You know, I have a family of 4 that works with me. But we decided that alienated people. So even something as tight as a community, everything matters when it comes to identifying your brand. And everybody jokes with me all the time, you know, about living your best life. I have people call me, hey, Brannon, you living your best life? Ha, ha, ha. That happens all day, every day. Hey, what's happening, Herman? Good to see you here, sir. So that happens all the time. But we know our brand. Live your best life. You call our school right now. Live your best life at One Martial Arts. Brannon speaking. Somebody walks through the door. Hey, you ready to live your best life? Boom, right? The class is bowing out. Class, what are you going to go out there and do? Everybody shouts, live your best life, sir. So once you understand that, then it really you, as the brand ambassador, you live, teach, and preach it. But if you don't get to that point, then as a collective, where do you operate from? Okay, and this is extreme, an example. What is a church without a God? There you go. So that purpose statement, live your best life, that is our spiritual positioning, our spiritual philosophy that we function from. And without a purpose, without a why, you have no brand identity. Okay, so what is your unique service point or unique selling point, right? Then how does that unique service point fulfill their, for the lack of a better word, this is salesmanship 101, their pain points, right? I want to lose 10 pounds. My pain point. I was accosted in the gas station, so I want to learn self-defense. My pain point. My kid can't pay attention, so I need them to learn focus. My pain point. My child is shy and needs confidence. So whatever brand promise you have, it has to fulfill that, right? If I teach your child confidence, they're living their best life. If I teach your child self-defense, they're living their best life, right? If your child can pay attention, they're going to live their best life. On and on. If I'm able to help you lose those 10 pounds, you're going to be living your best life. So again, it has to be something fulfilling, that helps fulfill their pain points. Because you can be famous in your own mind and have some brand, right? And some mission statement and a tagline. And if it doesn't fulfill their brand, their pain points, it's useless, right? Hypothetically, I don't know. Our purpose is to eat 1 million hamburgers. Okay. That's it. That's our whole purpose, is to eat 1 million hamburgers. Does that help me lose 10 pounds? No. Does that help my child learn confidence? No. Does that help them learn focus? No. Does that teach them self-defense to stand up to bully? No. Right? See? So that's an example. And I've seen that happen many times because people create a brand message based upon their own personal needs. And unless you're only going to teach martial arts to yourself and have one student, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? Apple was think different. Think different. Now it's evolved since then, but in the second coming of Steve Jobs and Apple, when they came out with Think Different, a lot of creative people, musicians, graphic artists, people like that were using Apple. And then they saw the limiting belief system of that and they expanded it out, right? But they understood coming into the market the second round, they created something very unique. So the Think Different was a very good philosophy at that point. right? Since then, it's expanded incredibly. Nike, just do it, right? Now we've seen other sales things and stuff, but the gold standard at Nike is just do it, right? How does it fulfill a pain point? Well, I'm an athlete. I run. I play soccer. I play football, basketball. I walk. Those shoes fulfill that. I'm not going to wear Nikes to a wedding, right? So it was very clear: action takers, doers, people that do it, just do it, right? Same thing. If a coach says, just do it, go to practice, get it done, right? It's about doing it, doing it. And so that just do it, became very, very symbolic. And it was the belief system that propelled Nike into what it is today, right? Into what it is today. And the neat thing about that, what I want to share, is when you have a great brand like Live Your Best Life or Just Do It or Think Different, you're able to co-brand that with other things within in your business, because you have different revenue streams: fitness, kickboxing, after school programs, summer camps, birthday parties, whatever. Yeah, you're living your best life if you have your child's party at our martial arts school, because we do these amazing birthday parties, ABCD. Your child's going to live their best life this summer by attending our camp, because we have life skills, martial arts, going to the park. See where I'm going with that? Your child's going to live their best life in our after school program, because we're going to get their homework done. We're going to make sure they learn these valuable life skills in our martial arts programs. And we keep it small. It's a boutique app. See, on and on. But once you know that why, it's simple to function from. So what's your unique selling point or your unique service point? And then how does it fulfill people's needs or pain points? Take a deep breath and think about that. And again, in our industry, nobody does this work. I would say a very small percentile do this kind of work. And the ones who are doing it very successfully are the ones that sit in the 20% that's making 90% of the revenue in our industry. That's a fact. That's a fact. And again, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Are some of these brands really fleshed out? No, but at least they have a why. At least I have why I go to your school versus Joe Karate down the street, right? And this is a side note, but if I see one more logo of a silhouette of somebody kicking, I'm going to lose my mind, because you're better than that. Your brand deserves more than that, right? Imagine if you could create a brand that was as iconic as the Nike swoosh. Wow. That's definitely more recognizable, identifiable than an image of somebody, a silhouette of somebody kicking, right? So you've identified their pain points, right? You have a unique selling point. You know what their pain points are. Now, how do you communicate that identity? That's the rough part. That's the rough part. Because as I shared, through every thought, word, and action. Okay? Live your best life. I'm 64. I think I work very hard and look well for my age. I'm an example of living your best life. Right? I'm on a walking pad right now because I need to be in shape to do what I do. Otherwise, how are you going to believe that? I'm an ambassador of living your best life. I need to be mindful. Every class I teach, I don't have to teach. I get to teach. Now, we call that in our school one of our core values, right? A core value could be integrity, to do the right thing. But ironically, I get to versus I have to is one of the core values of One Martial Arts and Live Your Best Life. Because if I have to do it, right, it's like a little kid. Do I have to? Do I have to? That is detrimental and erodes and degrades Live Your Best Life. So the mindset shift that we work constantly with our teams is I get to. I get to teach today. I don't have to. I get to. And that alone elevates your mindset to another level where you can truly exemplify and fulfill the brand promise through your example, your thought, and your action of live your best life. You with me with that? And I know people think that's a real kumbaya thing, but it's not. It is not. When I studied Steve Jobs or even Walt Disney, I'm amazed. Or Phil Knight of Nike. I'm just really, really amazed how important that was even before the shoe or before the film they did or before any of it, because it sets the tone. It's an operating system where everybody, no matter how diverse their thinking is, everybody can get on board with living your best life. Everybody can get on board with just do it. Everybody can get on board with think different. And that's the power of a brand, because then it takes on a life of its own. And when you witness it in your classes, in a waiting area, you know, and the different events and things that you do, you sit back and go, wow, I never thought. And I think that's why people don't do this work, because they're not critical thinkers, right? A critical thinker is the one who realizes there is no box. I don't have to think outside the box. There's no box. So I really explore the potential of that. And not so much, honestly, I got to admit, my motivation in the beginning was Apple's $1 trillion company, Nike. So let me do what the big boys do. That honestly was my entry into that. But when I worked with a guy from Nike for about 5 months, I really understood the higher level, the higher value that goes in with understanding what your brand is. Okay, quick review. Why do I want to come to you versus Joe Karate down the street? Answer that question. And it cannot be confidence, we're a family martial arts school, our instructors are better. I want you to totally move out of that, because none of that at a surface level creates an emotional connection with anybody. But if I can create this unique brand, like Live Your Best Life, that fulfills their pain points, everything begins to happen. Now, so we identified, well, why do I come to you versus Joe Karate down the street? I've identified what's my unique service point or unique selling point. I've identified how it fulfills that brand. The pain points of our demographic, mom with a 6-year-old kid. I've also went into, once I know that brand, I have to live, teach, and preach it through my every thought, word, and action. So put in the comments right now one example of how you communicate your brand. Go. And I'll keep talking, which I can do quite easily. Okay, put it in there. What's one actionable step that you take in your school to fulfill your brand promise? Okay, ours is Live Your Best Life. And we just got off our mentoring call and we had that discussion, right? It was just a simple one. Cleaning the bathrooms. How does that help people live their best life, right? Because I'm sitting in a team training and I'm training a bunch of high schoolers on cleaning the bathroom. It's probably the least thing they want to do, right? Clean the bathroom. The least thing they want to do. So nobody is going to live their best life if they go into an unkept bathroom. It's dirty. It's uninviting. It's gross. Take your pick. Oh, okay. That makes sense, right? You can't just simply say, here's one of your tasks at One Martial Arts is to clean the bathroom between classes. You have to give them a why. Why do we have to clean this bathroom? I get it, right? I get it. So again, anything that we do, when you can pre-frame it with the why, people get excited about it. Why should you be in our tournament? Because you're living your best life if you challenge yourself to do something hard, right? It's not easy getting into a tournament. It's stressful. They need to practice, et cetera, et cetera. See, we can always tie it back to the why. So again, I think as you build systems in your school, whether it's the warm-up, right? Look at little Jimmy. His back is nice and straight. He's going all the way down on that push-up, not letting his stomach touch the ground, right? But his chest is getting all the way down. He's living his best life. Boom. On and on and on. Earning their black belt. We want to congratulate Johnny. He's definitely lived his best life by, spending 5 years here to achieve a black belt. See, you can weave it into everything that you do. We greet people at the front door. You ready to live your best life, right? Get ready for class. That's the neat thing about it, is once you have that, then you consciously look for these opportunities to communicate your brand. Because every time you consistently fulfill your brand promise, right, based upon your brand identity, you earn trust. Write it down. You earn trust. Okay? You earn trust. And for me, I truly believe this, in the world of information, the world of misinformation, and the world of disinformation that exists on the internet, in the news, everywhere we go. It is very, 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 very hard to earn people's trust. And if trust is the last true form of marketing, then it should really, from the very first interaction, our purpose is to earn trust, right? And in our brand identity, go look at our ads at Facebook, go look at our website. There is not a single stock photo there. So if you're using a stock photo right now of anything, take it down. Take it down. Because I am not living my best life if I'm lying to people and throwing up stock photos of a really nice, $1 billion gym, and they come into my school and they go, where's the free weights? Where's, someone did that the other day, and I was the weirdest thing. They were looking for cleaning services, and they had an AI generated image of some woman sticking her butt into the camera. I didn't understand that at all. You're looking for someone to come clean your schools, and your choice of imagery is a woman, sticking her butt in the camera looking all seductive. She was holding, like, she had gloves on and a sponge or something, but I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Where's your brand, right? Where is your brand? See, but people overlook stuff like that all the day, all the time, because they're busy just doing it. So I want to get past that. And again, I believe in live your best life. That is my brand. That is what we do. And the higher part is we are one. We are one. I change in the room with the guys. I wear the same uniform the guys do. I don't walk on water. I don't sit there with a gold belt and sit on a throne and people kowtow to me. We're all equal. And that was very big in my personal development of our brand, because I grew up in the martial arts where hierarchy was everything. I'm the master. You're the lowly student. Do as I say. And I never found that very empowering. I felt it was degrading, debilitating, right? So I consciously created this brand, one martial arts, right? And so thought, word, and action, that's important to me. I walk onto the mat. I don't expect the Red Sea to part. I walk on the mat. I look at the guy leading the class and say, sir, where can I best support you? I always get the brand new white belts, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. You with me? So again, the clarity that we function with is because at least we have a brand. At least we have an identity, and we're able to function within those parameters. Even when people bring ideas to me, the first question is, does this help us fulfill our brand promise of living your best life? And if it doesn't, we table it. Nowadays, my team doesn't bring an idea to me unless they've already filtered it through. Does this satisfy the need of helping people live their best life? Okay, professor, the pads are worn out. We need new pads. Definitely, because nobody's training at optimally living their best life if the pads are all jacked up and broken, right? You with me? So again, something as basic as that. It really helps you move in what's called a flow state. There's not a lot of walls we hit because we're not discussing things outside our wheelhouse of living your best life. Everybody with me on that? Yeah. But again, you don't do this work because it doesn't get you 10 new students. But yes, it does, because it's going to retain the 10 you have, because they're no longer buying into what you do. They believe in what you do, and they'll go out and tell more people about it. I market 70 ways to 7 people, but I still understand fully the best way to get new students is through referral. It's the best qualified lead you could possibly ask for, right? The best quality lead you can possibly ask for. Cool. All right. So now we've talked about developing systems around that brand and how to fulfill it. And more importantly, when this is all done, and this will be like the icing on the cake, is that I understand that my brand is the beginning, the middle, and the end of what we do, because it influences the curriculum we design. It influences the team member that we hire. It influences the systems that we write. It influences the types of events we hold in our school. It influences every interaction we have with every student, with every parent, with each other. So I recognize that unequivocally, without a great brand and the identity behind it, I have nothing. I have nothing. I have some generic thing. I might as well get some company to run AI generated animated kids in a classroom, right? and use somebody's purpose and makes no sense and just keep saying we teach confidence. And again, then you're just part of the noise. I want to separate myself from the noise. And I can only do that by coming up with a brand that's purpose driven and coming up with a brand that fulfills a brand promise. Because once I break that brand promise, I'm done. I am done. And I say that passionately to you guys as I stop my walking pad. Our industry, now more than ever, we need to do this work. There are so many schools out there. There's so many people who simply open their doors. And remember, there's nobody, you can buy a black belt, you can make it up, right? So I think we're working against that too. But I think the yin to the yang of that is the jaded school owner that has a really good art and they're really good instructors, but they may not be at the level of success that they believe they should be after 10, 20 years. And they're frustrated. And they've been lied to. They've got a lot of misinformation, disinformation, or simply they didn't believe in it enough to consistently take action to fruition. Again, if I have a very clear brand identity, not one based upon ego and insecurity and narcissism and narrow-minded thinking, and that doesn't work here, we've tried it before, and I'm a black belt, so organically I'm supposed to know everything, the potential is unlimited. I don't know very many black belt school owners that are, hiring a Nike guy to teach them about branding. But I saw that need because my dedication to you as a small school owner in our industry is without parallel for me. And it's really important to me that I'm able to serve you at that level. So really think about this today. I want you to explore brands like Apple, explore brands like Disney, right? Look at Nike differently than you ever have before. Walk into a restaurant and say, where's the brand here? And if you look at the bigger franchises like Panda Express, things like that, there's a mission statement. It's right there on the wall. Panda Express has a mission statement. Chipotle has a mission statement. Even Starbucks has a mission statement. Everybody has a very clear why we do what we do. Do you? And if you can do that, then you create core values. Then you create brand absolutes, such as we say hello at the front door to everybody. We say goodbye to everybody. I can't tell you because it's so ingrained in our culture. I'm on a microphone teaching. I'm sitting there yesterday. One of the after schoolers are walking out the door going, bye, professor, because they count on us saying goodbye. Just like now when people walk through the door, they go, hi, professor, because we've built this, because nobody's living their best life if they're not feeling valued. And this I borrowed. I got to tell you, I didn't make this up. Remember the TV show Cheers? What was the theme song? Where everybody knows your name. And at the time, I was too young. But when it finally clicked later on, when I understood that became one of our brand absolutes because it fulfills our brand promise of living your best life. You walk into our school, we know your name. That's valuable. So we greet you at that front door. Every time in Cheers, when somebody walked in, I know it's a stage scene, but anytime somebody walked into that bar, whether it was Ted Danson or Woody Harrelson, they always said hello by name, not just hello. Remember? Hi, Norm. And Norm sat on the bar stool at the end of the counter all the time, right? See, those types of things that created this legendary TV series all was riddled with a why, with a brand, with a purpose. You can have the same thing. And is it going to retain more students? Yes. Is it going to get you 10 new students? Yeah, because you separate yourself from the noise. But until you genuinely get it and see the value in this work, you'll never do it. You just open the door, take the money, teach the classes. And then when someone pulls back your covers and starts sharing with you some of these things, you get defensive and you shut it down and you ignore it and go back to doing the same old thing. And that is why 73%, check this out. I saw it in a keynote that Mike Diller Jr. did. because, they have some of the best data. 73% of our schools in this industry are made up with small school owners with less than 100 students. Is that acceptable for you? I don't think so. But you don't know what you don't know. And as a neurodivergent thinker, right, who thinks differently, I'm going to stand on my soapbox and I'm going to preach that to you, because it's one of the missing elements as to why your business is not where you want it to be. Sure, you need a great team, great classes, curriculum, and all the rest, but without a great brand and a why, you have nothing. Because with that brand and a why, I can build a great team. I can hire based upon live your best life. I can train them based upon live your best life. We can serve our families and friends with live your best life. I think that the bad thing is when somebody ChatGPTs a brand and cultivate this, synthetic brand with no heart, no soul, and then they don't execute on it. That's even worse. You want to really hurt your school? Go to ChatGPT, come up with some brand saying a purpose statement, and all the rest, and try to implement it into your school of a bunch of human beings. Well, the best data says this is the key tagline. No, it isn't. You've been doing martial arts your whole life. Start by asking yourself, why? Why did you enroll in martial arts? And here's my case study. My good friend, Andre Mavis in Germany, his school was called US Dojo. That was his last name, right? Mavis Dojo. And he wanted to rebrand, and we couldn't come up with anything. And we were sitting on a boat going from Cozumel to Cancun, and we were going to spend a day zip lining and ATVing and all that. And I finally asked him this one question. Why did you enroll in the martial arts? Okay, and this might help all of you. And I'll finish with this today. He said, well, as a child and teenager, I got into a lot of trouble as a kid. So when the police would bring me home, nothing I said what my parents would believe. Everything was a lie, because too many times I was the boy who cried wolf. I said, okay, tell me more. He said, and then I went into a martial arts school. I think his mother might have taken him because she wanted to, get support. And he said, the instructors all believed in me. I said, oh, okay. Thus was born Believe Martial Arts. And I said, well, tell me more about believing. What does that mean to you? Well, once I learned to believe in myself, I knew anything was possible, right? I could be a world champion kickboxer, and he became a world champion kickboxer. I could be a great father, and he's a great father today. I could have a successful martial arts school, and he's done that too. See? So there we go. Name of the school, Believe Martial Arts. The tagline, where everything is possible. It's one of my brands that I'm most proud of. But as I share with Andre all the time, you have to deliver upon that brand promise through every thought, word of action. Am I teaching a kid everything's possible if I'm, humiliating him about his bad push-up? No. I get down next to him in the best push-up position, and I share with him, it's possible. Do your push-up like this. Everything's possible. I believe in you, but you got to believe in yourself. You see where I'm going with that? That's more inspiring than you're doing a bad push-up and, singling this kid out in front of everybody in a class, right? So that's what I love about the brand. You call the school Believe Martial Arts, where everything is possible. Bow out the class. If I believe, everything is possible. There you go. On and on. And it's magical. It's Disney-like, right? But that's what really gets people to believe. Because believing is what? Right? It's faith. And faith is believing what you can't see. And that's the amazing thing. When that parent sits there and they're at their wits' ends and they need their child to earn confidence because they're petrified they're going to be bullied to death, right? You instill hope. You instill belief. And if I come into your school and I believe it's possible that my shy child is going to learn confidence, I will pay you any amount of money for that, right? But everybody, from front desk to the student taking attendance to the people teaching classes, have to fulfill that brand promise. I know it all makes sense, but are you going to do the work? That is my question to you. Are you going to get done watching this today and do nothing and just open the door, take the money, teach the classes? You can and still continue to be part of that 73% with 100 students or less. Or the higher thinking, the critical thinking that I'm sharing with you today is your pathway to freedom. Cool. All right. That was awesome. That was really, really awesome today. So let's start by thanking our sponsors, Marco, as we always do. To some Market Muscles, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, Kin Creative, all companies I work with, a couple of them I work for. I love them dearly. They've had a huge impact on my life and my businesses, and I inspire you to discover all of these companies. They're not hard sells. Talk to them and see if they can help you fulfill your version of success. It's Time Live United. Oh, yeah. It's Time Live United. We've already had our first 2 people book, and the event is in November. It always sells out. It's for martial artists, by martial artists. It's unlike anything. It's not 2 days in Vegas with smoke-filled rooms and hallways and lights, and you're so disoriented. No. It's 20 school owners in a very intimate setting. For 4 days, we break bread, we hike together, we cry together, we strategize together, we shift our mindset together, we train together. All of it happens. And I invite you. Marco will put the link for that in the comments. Get signed up. We already have 2 people, only 18 spots left. Our It's Time group mentoring, schedule a discovery call. Yeah, I'm not going to sell you on it. I'm going to invite you to it. Schedule with Marco, Monique, Jason, or myself, and learn about why It's Time group mentoring is so impactful on helping today's small school owner achieve their version of success. Where can you find me? Everywhere. The podcast you can find on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. There's over a decade now of this podcast. Can you believe it? That's how long you've been broadcasting this. Subscribe to my Instagram. Be part of my Facebook groups, The Disruptor of Success Never Sleeps. And for everything else, go to brannonbeliso.com. So I hope today you really understand your brand identity, the impact it can have on your success and failure. Even worse, leaving you homogenized like everybody else, and I can't differentiate you from Joe Karate down the street. You deserve so much more. You do. You have a unique story to tell. There's a unique brand in there, and you have to be willing to do this work. Cool? All right. I'm Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, folks, please, you go out there, live your best life.